We're very proud of it, of the program. As you can tell, I'm going to introduce Mr. Bert Hines, who's the principal of the school. He's going to actually conduct it.
I just want to take a moment to say welcome to everyone. I'm very happy to see some familiar faces here from some of the exchange students who've graduated from here in the last 10 years. There may be a few of you who've graduated a few years sooner, and it'll be interesting for all of you to see the tour, see how the building has changed. These three banners, and these are the past year state championships. Come on in. Which will seat 500, and we can seat 1,200 here on the main floor. About 700 up front, 500 here, and then 500 upstairs. So it's just a great facility. Okay, I'll keep us moving because this is a big building. Have drop-down batting cages for baseball. If you remember this as a pool, it obviously looks very, very different. Tiles are now covered with panels. Starting blocks used to be about here, and you would swim down this way. You could dive in, and technically could hit your head. No one ever did here, fortunately.
Yeah,
This is where the entrance was. And then you went outside and there was an open area out here. And that's where the new pool is. So come on over. Standing on is called a bulkhead. And this moves. The other pool only held about 200 to 250 spectators. This one will handle 500. It's safe to walk across this. If you don't mind, we can cut across here. And don't worry, it's not going to sink.
Feet I would never like.
40 years we've had these floors and they're very low maintenance, but this hallway in particular was getting some wear and tear, so we've just refinished and redone this, and it's absolutely beautiful. They have the gyms blocked off. Well, if you would like to see our fitness center, we'll go upstairs, because I know that won't be an incredible facility. For those who graduated from North Penn, once upon a time, we used to have archery as one of the options in gym, and they used to do the archery up here. And the fitness center was far smaller, but we've expanded this over the years to take up this entire space. Over on the my far left, there's a rock climbing wall. I don't know if that's what you were noticing, but that is also one of our phys ed activities. So those of you who are here at any time, I don't know if you were able to use the rock climbing wall.
It wasn't here.
It wasn't here. Questions? The beauty of this gym, we are able to divide it. There's a curtain that you can see some curtains on the sides that drop. There's also a way of dividing it across the middle. This is where the payphones used to be. But nobody needs any payphones anymore because everyone has cell phones. So we took out the payphones and we turned it into a showcase to showcase members of our staff for people who come in and visit the building. And it also helps some of the staff. With a building with a large staff, it's a great way to get to know that face you've passed in the hall, but you aren't quite sure who they are. So that's what we've done with what was once a payphone area. One of the things I want to point out, because I know some of you were, when you were here, you were involved either in the chorus or in the band. Straight ahead, it's still the band room. The band room, the chorus room, those are there. This room is now our theater room, our theater classroom. It may have been when you were here, it just depends on what year. We made a few changes there. This building is laid out in pods, and so you don't get lost in the building. It's actually color-coded, although a lot of people don't realize it. As the floor color changes, the pod changes. So once the floor turns green, we're moving into what we call E-pod. Some folks use the exterior as a way of getting their bearings around here. but others will use the floors, and it just depends on what works for you. And let's walk in here for a moment. A few years ago, as technology was advancing and we were trying to put computers in every classroom, but making sure students had access to the computers, the district purchased many laptop carts. Any classroom could become a computer lab. What we did, we drilled into the floors and we put the electric down in the floor so that when the student desks are in here, we can wheel in a cart full of laptop computers and plug them right into the floor. Because as we were getting all these, we said, we're going to have a problem. The first period and the second period every day, if they just operate on the batteries, they'll work fine. But if you're in 7th or 8th period, the batteries are going to run out, and you've got to have a way to plug them all in and keep them working. If you wonder, what are all these little spots in the floors? That's what we've done. Some folks may walk in and not even notice it, but I just thought it's one of those little changes. The teachers can bring entire classes in here. Of course, they have to book it in advance, but there are enough computers in here to have 1 or 2 entire classes at a time. And so it's right, the beauty of this is it's located in the heart of the building. It's easy to access. That is actually an improvement that's going on. We are trying to get this not trying, we will have, by the start of school, the entire building will be wireless accessible. And they're putting in the lines to make sure that every part of this building, we've had parts of it that you've been able to use wireless technology, and other parts where you've had to have things hardwired into the floors or plugged in somewhere. This is going to give us wireless access throughout the building. So if you see any wires coming out of the ceiling, it's not just carelessness and it's not vandalism. It's part of an ongoing improvement project. We're moving into primarily the science pod. It's not the only place we have science, but it is essentially the area where science is taught. So come on, don't be bashful. Because one of the things that we're very proud of here is our planetarium. And advance it and change the seasons and show you the sky at all times of the year. This is the equipment that operates it, and they work it from the console back there. And the students are able to sit down in these chairs, and they're very comfortable, and you kind of just lean back, and you're sitting here looking at the sky. This is a very popular program. This part of the high school is used for our elementary students as well as our middle school students. North Penn High School students to go to during lunchtime to the Courtyard. So we're going to cut into the Courtyard now. There never used to be this walkway. This out in the center tended to be mud more than anything else. And our students have been very respectful of this upgraded Courtyard. For those of you who graduated from here just a few years ago, you can see a real difference in what this looks like now and what it looked like just up until last spring. What do you think of it?
Really nice.
It is nice. We've put a planter in the center, and this is how much students respect it. They don't bother what gets put into this planter in the center. And again, it's making it a nice area for students. And we have a belief. We use this for all sorts of gatherings. There are tables back in here. There are tables over in this area as well. So it's one cafeteria, but it's divided up into smaller areas to create an effect that's a little more family friendly, a little more homey.
I was trying to hide.
You guys interested in looking at anything? Tossing bags, yeah.
But I guess you don't take credit cards,
No.
They opened today if you wanted to buy something.
I know.
In the center of this pod, as well as over in C, where the science was, there is a large group instruction room which seats about 130. This is a great room for a guest speaker to use. It's a great room to hold meetings because if you're trying to speak to a larger group, but not too large a group, you can be up here and you can see the folks and you can take questions and answer questions. There's a screen that comes down from the ceiling there so you can do some demonstration. We're fortunate we had blackboards, and in fact they were slate blackboards. But as technology emerged, we now have ceiling mounted projectors. We have whiteboards here that are actually smart boards, and most of the work, most of the teaching, teachers demonstrate things on these boards, these smart boards. So as the technology has changed, the blackboards are used less and less. Working very nice.
It's fun.
Pretty much by department, not completely, but pretty much. We're coming out of APOD. APOD is primarily English. Second floor of D and E pod is all math. We're going to walk down here because B pod is both upstairs and downstairs is B pod. The whole first floor was that cafeteria you saw. And the second floor is the world language, and I'll show you where Mrs. Murphy always taught. So come on down here. You see these bridges with the columns and the windows, that's another sign that you're changing pods. In this pod, these rooms were painted in 1970 and 71 when the building was built, and they have never been repainted.
This was my room.
This was Mrs. Murphy's classroom.
Mine closet.
Remember when we were down in the old swimming pool and we had a gymnasium there, and I said there had been a diving well off to the side? For those who were here prior to 2004, you remember what the old pool looked like. The upstairs of the diving well, I said, became the data center, which is the heart of the entire district's data. For the brains of the system here to keep operating the way they have to. Again, you were here before 2004, 2005. Bernadette became a two-floor conversion, and all of this was brought up here. You probably can't see too much, but it's just impressive to realize that the whole district's data is all held right here. In 1999, so all of this is new. And from here you get the opportunity to see, without standing out in the weather, although we don't have air conditioning in here, you can see that there are 3 floors of classrooms here. The whole upper floor is devoted to chemistry. English and social studies are on the second floor. There's a little music, a little social studies, and some special ed classes and some art labs on the first floor. So we'll just walk through there. Down here we have tennis courts. Beyond the tennis courts there is a turf field so that we can play in all sorts of weather. It doesn't matter if it's rained for a week. They can play a soccer game on the turf field. The band can practice on the turf field, so that's one of the really nice features. Our football stadium still has a grass field. The beauty of this building, in that auditorium, I can bring the whole school in and have 2 assemblies. I get the whole school into that auditorium in 2 assemblies. Most high schools are not built that way. Rather than using the whole auditorium, we bring the group into here. So a very handy room to have, and it's great to see in here. Frequently, some of you have been in here, or maybe you've never seen it before. I don't know.
Orchestra.
Orchestra, okay.
And German National Honor Society inductions.
German Honor Society induction is always held in here, and the refreshments are always back here. We hope that you had a great time when you were here. Obviously you did, or you wouldn't have been coming back to have another look. And I'm just glad that so many of you have made the trip to the United States and came back to see, for the 50th anniversary here of the International Exchange, to see what the school looks like and to reconnect with all the individuals that you knew when you were here. Ted and Bonnie and Miss Murphy, they've just been supporters of this program. They've been pillars of this program for many, many years. And I'm glad that you felt the desire to come back and see all of them and see all of us again too. So thank you.